Hi, I'm Hunter from Battlefield Sports. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the Simple Controller. The Simple Controller is a great option for operators just getting started with their laser tag operation. The Simple Controller has everything you need to jump into the games. Different options on the controller will do different things. There are 3 broad categories to keep in mind. Settings. These set up the controller itself. Examples include Select Game or Set Timer. IR commands. These are functions directed at taggers using an infrared beam. Only taggers in range of the beam will be affected. IR commands can include setting the team, setting the volume, or reactivating a player. Radio commands. When you use a radio command, the controller will send out a message to all devices in the area on the same battle. Most operators, especially those using simple controllers, will exclusively be on Battle 1, meaning radio commands will apply to all devices at your operation. The first option on the simple controller is Select Game, also known as Select Mission, depending on the theme. By selecting one of the standard games, you let your controller know which scores it needs to collect to calculate the winner at the end of the game. For example, Heist. The objective of this mission is to have the most amount of virtual cash in your team's vault at the end of the game. The controller, having been set to Heist, will know to search for the vaults and collect how much cash each team has and calculate the winner from there. The next option is Game Timer, also known as Mission Timer. With this option, you can set up a timer for your games. The controller remembers your last selection. So if you always run 10-minute games, you can set and forget. Setting up a timed game means that your controller will also update the game scores periodically throughout the mission if you've selected a mission type. If you do not want to have a timed game, there is the unlimited option, which means there will be no timer. If you do set up a timer, what will happen is when you start a game, it will start counting down from that timer. When the timer runs out, the controller will automatically end the game for you. This helps keep your laser tag sessions running on time. The next option is called Briefing. This is a radio command. Briefing will pause all devices and delete all previous stats. This is a great option to use when you're ready to brief the players on how to play. In the latest versions of SATA 3, player stats are retained between reboots, so it's critically important that you wipe all previous stats before starting a new session. If you have a changeover of players during the day, you can use the briefing command again to wipe the slate clean for the new group. Do not use the briefing command during games with the same group, as people like to keep a track of how they're doing. The briefing command also pauses all the players. This is because when you first turn on a device, the game is automatically running. Gamers can start playing right off the bat. But when it's time to give the briefing, it's very useful to be able to pause everyone so you can talk without people blasting you. Once everyone has been issued their equipment, given a briefing, and taken to their bases, it's time to start the game. Select the Start command. Like briefing, this is a radio command, which means everyone will start at once. Be sure to have a radio repeater set up, otherwise some players might not get the signal. If you have set up a game timer, the Start command will kick it off and start counting down. During the game, if you haven't set up a game timer, you'll want to use the refresh scores to manually retrieve any updates. Then the latest scores will be displayed on your screen. Now it's time to end the game. As mentioned before, if you have a game timer set, the controller will automatically end the game. But if you're running an untimed game, you can use the end option to manually end the game at any time. The end command sends out a radio signal to all the players, letting them know that the game is over. This pauses all of the units. If you have selected a mission, your controller will grab the final scores and calculate the winner. Again, it's vital that you have a radio repeater going so you can ensure that these scores are accurate. Your controller will ask you if you want to play the winner. You can choose yes or no. If you select yes, an announcement will play on all the devices. Typically, red team is victorious or blue team is victorious. Cue the cheers. You can keep starting new games with the Start command until the session is over. Because the units are battery powered, it's a good idea to ensure that everything is off after the games have concluded. That way, you don't flatten the batteries needlessly. If you're running a mobile operation, you also want to ensure that you have collected everything before you drive off. To do this, use the find function. This is a radio command. As an operator, you want to be confident that all the devices are off. Find command is the final check. When you set off a find command, all the devices that are still on will make a loud siren noise and turn on all of their lights. This makes boxes and taggers easy to find even in the dark. Those are the primary functions of your Simple Controller. There are several other options available on the Simple Controller that may or may not suit your operation. After the find command, there are 3 IR command options that allow you to change the team settings. These are red team, blue team, or any team. Now, why would you need these options? One example is you may be setting up a solo battle royale, in which case you need to set each of the players to any team. Because the team settings are an IR command, you do need to aim at the sensors of each of the players and pull the trigger to tag them. If the update is successful, the head sensors of the player will flash red. Keep in mind that team settings are retained by the devices between boots. This means that if they were set to any team at a previous session, it will remember that it was on any team. So what you need to do is make sure that you change the setting back to red team and blue team if you would like to continue running red versus blue games. Be sure you do not accidentally set the taggers to the wrong team. This can happen because the taggers are all too close together, and so the infrared beam hits the taggers that it's not supposed to. The best way to avoid this is to turn off the taggers you are not setting. Also turn off any battle boxes that might be nearby if you don't want to set them as well. Another time these menu options could be useful is if your operation does not have a predefined set team setting for each of the taggers. For example, you get everything out in the same area and allow each of the players to pick up a tagger, and then you assign teams to the players. Once you've moved the players to their bases, you can set them to either red team or blue team. The good thing about separating them and then changing the teams is that the crossover chances are very low. Please note that changing the team does not change the hit lights. Just because a tagger might have a blue hit light does not mean that it is on the blue team. If you start making changes to the setting, be sure to check the screen and not the hit light. If you're not sure how to check the display, you can have a look at our support FAQ document, which has more information about troubleshooting. Another setting you can change on your devices is the volume. Different resets have different standard volumes, typically either high or medium. In some cases, you may also want to reduce the volume to low. Set volume is an IR command, which means you need to tag the taggers to change the setting. After set volume, the next option on the Simple Controller is reactivate. This reactivates a targeted gamer with infrared. There is also an auto reactivate option, which functions like a medic box. This option isn't recommended for laser tag operators, as you should have a spare battle box which you can set up as a medic box in case of a medic box no longer working. The next option is the phrases menu. There are 3 categories of phrases: results, in-game, and post-game. The results menu is straightforward. With this, you can announce a particular team has won after a game. In-game phrases tend to be motivational to the players, or they announce certain achievements associated with more advanced games. Finally, there are the post-game phrases, the most useful category. These include phrases like change ends and drinks break. Choosing one of these plays a pre-recorded phrase on all of the devices, ensuring everyone knows what to do next. The next option is called Switch Box Teams. Via radio, the controller will swap the boxes that are assigned to the red team over to the blue team, and boxes assigned to the blue team over to the red team. This is very useful when you want to change ends and saves you having to walk over to each box to change the setting with the controller. The final 2 options on a Simple Controller are bright light and low light. These are IR commands. As standard, taggers are set to bright light. However, if you are playing in the dark or indoors, you'll want to set your taggers over to low light. You'll also want to set your battle boxes over to low light. And that's the Simple Controller. We also have a video about the basic controller and its functions if you're curious about that. If you have any questions about using the Simple Controller, be sure to check out the Quick Start Guide associated with your chosen theme. Find the links below in the description, and we'll see you for the next video.